Well, hello there, everyone. It's great to be back on YourTV as we provide an update on the COVID-19 pandemic here in the city of Belleville. And of course, I want to start off, as I always do, by saying a very special thank you to YourTV. They are a great community partner, and I've heard from many residents about how they appreciate this little update on a regular basis. This week's update is for the week of October the 26th. And there have been a number of activities that have occurred, lots of news, including the fact that our additional regions in Ontario have moved backwards from stage 3 to stage 2 with various restrictions. Here in the Belleville and in our health unit region, we remain in stage 3. And so we have all of those additional abilities that we've had through the course of the summer. And we still have to work to stay where we're at. Again, all the things we've talked about, washing your hands, wearing a mask when you're indoors, and wearing a mask when you cannot social distance outdoors is key, and we encourage everyone to do that. From a statistics point of view, we continue to perform very well in our region. We have now over 45,282 tests as of earlier from when I'm doing this interview. Since the beginning of the pandemic back in March, we've had a total of 75 cases. However, some of the discouraging news is that we've had over 12 just in the last week, which represents about 16% from the very beginning of the pandemic have been recently. Now, Thanksgiving is responsible for these numbers because we saw residents in Ontario traveling against the advice of the medical officers of health. And, it was quite discouraging, honestly, to see the number of vehicles traveling along the 401 through our city because I could just see the virus was being moved around Ontario. And this weekend, we saw record numbers in all of Ontario. As I said, we've seen 12 cases in our region just in the last week. That is because of people getting together over Thanksgiving. So as a result of that, the Chief Medical Officer of Health in our region, Dr. Oglaza, has recommended that traditional trick-or-treating activities in our community not occur this year. And the City of Belleville supports that. We already have a structured process in place for children in school. We know that they're in cohorts. We know that we contact trace them on their buses to and from school. For us now to send them all over the city in a scattered approach, particularly with some of the older children and teenagers who really aren't paying as much attention to the COVID-19 virus as they should, was not a good idea. So certainly we support Dr. Oglaza's recommendations on no traditional Halloweening. I know that a lot of residents had asked us, should we get ready to have treats for children, and families asking, what should we do with our children? There are many things you can do that does not include a traditional trick-or-treating. You can go to the Hastings and Prince Edward Health Unit website for more information, but I encourage everyone to respect this good advice. Dr. Oglaza and his team have given us excellent advice throughout this pandemic. Our numbers prove that to be the case, so I encourage everyone to do so. And one last reminder, Halloween this year is on a Saturday. And while there'll be a great temptation, no house parties, everybody. This is not the year to have a Halloween house party at your home. Understand there is a limit of no more than 10 people who are not cohabitating, meaning they don't live together in the same place. So if you have 9 members of your household and you invite 2 neighbors over, that's not permissible. Let's stay. We've done so well so far. Let's not blow it down. I recognize it's a sacrifice. But it's a sacrifice for each other. And I do want to have the ability to think that at Christmas, we'll be able to have some traditional activities as long as we are good right now. On the COVID-19 front and some of the changes that are occurring in Belleville, it was disappointing yesterday to have to announce that Remembrance Day for this year will be very different than we've seen in previous years. It's what a wonderful day it is when we see literally hundreds of city residents come out to pay their respects to veterans who have served, who made sacrifices, including the ultimate sacrifice, or continue to serve today. And this year, it is going to be a private event, won't be open to the public. And I know that's disappointing, but I remind people that we can choose to remember Remembrance Day in many ways besides just going to the cenotaph for the 11 o'clock special remembrance. You can go before and after, you can go on other days. And certainly anytime you take a moment to remember that service and sacrifice, all veterans will appreciate that. We can also support the Poppy campaign. They're going to have a tough time this year as they have in as it's not the same for them to collect their revenue. So take a moment and support the Poppy campaign. And you'll see some more news in the next little while of the city making a donation to the Poppy campaign to help them for what they're going to be missing. There was a council meeting this week. I'm really, really proud that Belleville City Council has not missed a meeting since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have had every single one of our regularly scheduled meetings, plus additional meetings when necessary. But we did have one this week, and there was lots of business conducted, everything from working on issuing contracts to have certain stormwater ponds where they collect the rainwater as they're farther away from the lake or the river. Those are to be cleaned so that we call them cleanouts to make sure they're operating properly. We also had a discussion about a future open air burning regulation to allow for people to burn wood outdoors. We do allow that in certain parts of the city now. And the discussion is whether or not we should be expanding the area for that. So it came to council and it's going to come back. We're looking for some public input on that. We also announced that the Overnight Warming Center will be back again this year for days where there is extreme cold. And that'll start from on November the 15th, where the Director of Emergency Services and Fire Chief, Chief Mark McDonald, will be able to activate it when it reaches minus 15 in terms of temperature and wind chill. But that'll be at the former police station. We were able to make use of that this year because the Belleville Police Service have moved to their new location. But that will be, that we received approval yesterday from council to move ahead and to fund that operation. And that'll start on November the 15th. Also, this week, we discussed City Council chamber renovations. Many of you may remember that earlier this last fall, as we talked about the 2020 capital budget, we had approved the first renovations to the City Council chambers since 1988. And this project has been delayed because we're seeking funding from the provincial government for accessibility upgrades to make it more accessible for people that have limitations in their walking or their transportation, if they use wheelchairs or whatnot. So we are expecting to get very good news from the province of Ontario by the end of this year. So yesterday we went ahead and let that contract, or gave the contract for that work, and we're just waiting now for the funding application to be considered. The Quinte Sports and Wellness Center continues to operate really well for residents, and we have had 2 arenas and the pool open for some time. We're getting very, very good usage, and the people that are using it are following all the rules, and things are going quite smoothly. We've actually been able to make some relaxation on some of the rules and allow family members to watch their children skate during or play hockey. So keep up the good work, and we can continue to have that. But we will be opening a 3rd rink on November the 2nd. And again, we're seeing good demand from our groups. It is a different reality. The rules are a lot different from before, but people are working their way through them. And I thank everyone for their cooperation. And I thank our city staff, who really have gone above and beyond to try to allow people to have some sense of normalcy during these very unnormal times. A reminder, as we talked about the Overnight Warming Center getting ready to be opened, winter is truly coming, and we're now preparing residents that November the 2nd, our overnight winter parking restrictions are back in place. So that means between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m., there is no parking on any city streets. And we ask residents to cooperate. I hope that it'll be some time before we have snow, but this is Canada, and you never know how things go. So remind everyone for that. The last thing I just want to talk about today, as we have this week's message, was that at council this week, we recognized our longest continually serving member of our city staff. Kim Wilson, who has now recognized her 35th anniversary with the City of Belleville. She is the administrative assistant to the Director of Emergency Services and Fire Services, Chief McDonald, and she's been working for him for some time, I think since 2000. Before that, she worked in the City Finance Department and the City Clerk Department, and she is now, as I said, the longest serving employee in an entire city. So congratulations to Kim. You can see some pictures here from a ceremony that we had where we presented her with a certificate from the City of Belleville and a small gift, but also the Office of the Fire Marshal of Ontario sent her a certificate as well as a beautiful silver brooch that she's able to have for her. But congratulations to Kim, and thank you to her for all those 35 years and everybody that she's worked with. So that's it for me this week. Another update from the City of Belleville. I appreciate YourTV last week filming the historic announcement with the Belleville Agricultural Society for their relocation. And it was a wonderful event to be part of. Something that the city's been working on for probably 40 years to deal with that. But it's a good new day for the future of the Ag Society. It's great for us in terms of being able to repurpose those lands. And it's going to be very good for taxpayers moving forward. So we're very, very happy with that. But as I said, that's it for this week. Thank you to YourTV for this opportunity. And I'll look forward to getting back in touch with everyone next week.